Guys, so today we're going to be breaking down bankruptcy. Okay, so this is something that is not talked about a lot on YouTube. It's not talked about a lot on Google. You can't really find much post about this. There's really a lack of know-how and when it comes to bankruptcy. Now, the information that we're going to share with you guys today is going to give you a good understanding on bankruptcy, how you can actually help people file for the unclaimed funds and a bankruptcy. But Will and I, we have created a course that's going to give you guys step by step exactly what to do. You're going to learn really in depth exactly how you can add this to your existing services that you have with asset recovery. So, if you have on your website that you do, surplus funds from a foreclosure, you're going to be able to add this as well. If you're somebody that's doing unclaimed state funds, you're going to be able to add this as well. There are some unique factors about this that makes it a lot easier, more simple than the foreclosure process. So I'm pretty confident that once we're done with this training, you guys will see the importance of adding this to your current business practice. So we're going to save all the questions for the end. But right now, Will and I, we're going to go ahead and start the presentation. So I just ask that everybody has their microphone muted throughout the duration of the presentation. And then at the end, we'll allow Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and click mute all. And then Will, when you're ready, we can go ahead and start.
I think my mic is unmuted, right?
Yep.
Yep, great. Yeah, thanks. So I guess, Eric, that was a good introduction to the unclaimed funds in bankruptcy. I think one of the great things is if you're already working in mortgage overages or tax overages or state unclaimed funds, you've already got processes in place. You've already got technologies in place. You likely already have a corporate entity already in place. And this is just another type of claim. And in some ways, while there's complexity, there are some ways that these claims are more straightforward and simpler. And we can get into that a little bit more. But we want to just talk about big picture.
Exactly, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is recovering unclaimed funds in the U.S. bankruptcy court. All right. So you guys know who myself is. You guys know who Will is, but brief introduction. You guys know me from YouTube, Money Making Juggernaut. I've been doing surplus funds, assisting people state level, county level since 2018, teaching since 2020. And Will, you can go ahead and introduce yourself for those who might be new to the call.
Sure. I'm Will Whitman. I'm an attorney licensed in Pennsylvania. I've been practicing for over 25 years, working with Eric for the last 3 years in asset recovery and unclaimed funds, and excited to share with you the bankruptcy unclaimed funds. So really, if we just start taking it from the big picture perspective, we've got property and people who are separated from property that they own. In this case, the property is money that somehow got separated from them through the bankruptcy process. It could be that it was their bankruptcy. It could be a bankruptcy that they filed a claim in or that they were a creditor for. But in any event, it's people and their money separated. And our goal is to identify the people, identify the property, and bring them together.
Exactly, guys. So you know that we are reuniting individuals with the lost funds. Okay. Very simple. We can identify who's entitled to these funds. We can see where the funds are, and we're just going to help them get the money. We're the middleman. We are the people that are going to allow the process to take place because they're not informed about it and they don't know how to do it.
Yeah, so unclaimed funds in bankruptcy are exactly what they sound like, funds that somehow got put into the court and they never found their way out to their rightful owner. So the US code provides for that. And what happens is when the case is nearing an end, the trustee who is administering the case, we'll talk about a little bit more specifically that in the course, what the trustee's role, what the debtor and the creditor's roles are, but the funds get placed into the court and they stay there until someone claims them. Fortunately, there's a great tool website that kind of aggregates all of the bankruptcy court's unclaimed funds, or just about, from all over the country into one location, making finding these much easier than finding state funds or individual county funds.
Exactly. So we're going to show you guys the information that you need to be successful. So in this course, you're going to understand exactly, where to locate these funds. Like Will mentioned, there's a website that actually hosts all of the data across the entire nation, but you still have to learn how to navigate that. So we're going to show you how to locate, how to confirm if these funds are indeed available. So just like when we're doing our due diligence on the surplus fund side for foreclosures, you're going to have to do your due diligence, your research on the bankruptcy level. We're going to show you guys exactly how you can do that. And also why we believe that this is a great practice to add to your current asset recovery system, because it is so uniform. We're focusing on one site to pull the leads, then we go on another site to perform our research and due diligence.
Right. And everything is more uniform when you're dealing with the federal system. There's one set of federal rules of civil procedure, one set of bankruptcy rules. Now, each individual bankruptcy court, and I think there are 80 of them, each judicial district in the United States in the federal system has its own bankruptcy court. They have local rules, but those local rules vary only a little bit from court to court, as opposed to very widely as they do from county to county and state to state.
Yeah.
So go ahead. What were you about to say?
No, I was mentioning how we can, we're going to go over how to locate these claimants, how to sign them up. They're going to get, the proper literature to provide when we're reaching out to clients. Also, the call script is going to be slightly different. You guys are going to learn exactly what's going to work to get clients to understand, because if they're going through a bankruptcy and the bankruptcy is closed from years ago, you're presenting information that may not make sense to them. Just like when we're dealing with surplus funds, hey, you just gone through this foreclosure and there's money left over to you. Well, imagine if there's money that's been sitting in the federal hands for, 10 years, 20 years, a bankruptcy's been closed and that money's just sitting there, it's not going to make sense. So we're going to teach you guys, what to actually explain to them, how to provide the right information in the right order at the right time.
Right. And I think we're going to see later in this presentation that in the deposit form, when the funds are deposited with the court, there's no escheatment to the state. Like there's no limit like that for these. So these can be sitting there for 30, 40, 50 years. And the court records don't even, the full electronic records don't even go back that far, because that was pre-computer use in the system. But those funds are still there. So, we'll talk about, like I said, what defines being a debtor, what defines being a creditor, what the role of the trustee is, how to know the difference between what is a claimant and what is an applicant, and who can be a claimant and who can be an applicant, and go through how to locate the claimants.
Exactly, because you guys are going to see in a little bit, when you see the list, there's multiple parties in a bankruptcy. So it's going to be important for you to understand those roles and identify exactly who we can help. All right. And then when we're going over this process, you can also take this full time if you want to as well. And we'll show you guys how you can do that. So right here, what we have is an example so you guys can see. This is a list that has all of the unclaimed funds from bankruptcies in the entire nation. Okay. The good thing about this is they give us enough information to go do our due diligence. I told you guys there's, a site that's going to give us the leads and information. and then we can go in and actually perform further research on that unclaimed amount.
Right. And I mean, this list, it doesn't have every single bankruptcy court. It's almost every single. It's probably 95%. I know a couple of courts still haven't signed on to it yet, but this you can't see because this is a screenshot of it, but this database is sortable by amount. It's filterable by court. So if you're in Georgia and you want to do the Northern District of Georgia and focus on that to start, you can just look at claims that are between $10,000 and $20,000 in the Northern District of Georgia and just get really good at those claims.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And the great thing about the website is it updates too. They are providing weekly leads. There's constantly bankruptcies that are being closed out and that have these surplus unclaimed funds from the bankruptcy, and they're going to be updated. So it's not like you're just getting a lead list from, 2010. You're actually getting up-to-date information, and you can sort that information. You can sort, okay, show me all the leads from this week above 10,000, or just toggle it from highest to lowest. And there's even times where, guys, people are entitled hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here in this case, we can see that somebody was actually entitled $687,000.
In general, when these funds are deposited into the court registry, they're not subject to other claims. These are funds that I would say in every case, literally, a check has been written to this individual for $687,000, and somehow they weren't able to find them.
Yep.
So they put it into court, and what you need to do then is prove the right to the claim, prove the identity of that claimant. But there's no liens, there's no offsets, there's no, is it really 687 or is it going to wind up being zero like you sometimes get on a mortgage or a tax overage?
Yeah, so when we're performing our due diligence, we're able to pull up documents like this, which we can send to clients to show them proof. Because like I mentioned, people are going to hear that they have, an unclaimed amount, a surplus amount from their bankruptcy when their bankruptcy was closed years ago. So if we're explaining to them that this money is available, they want to see proof. So imagine sending out an intro email, which is referencing a federal code, not a state statute, a federal code, and then providing the proof as well. And then you have your company's website and your email line. They can see that you're legitimate. You're going to be able to close deals at a high rate.
Right. And unlike with state funds and mortgage overages and tax overages, where sometimes you don't have a notice of surplus filed with the court, it's not going to be the same in every case, but there is going to be this report of deposit of unclaimed funds, because every time this happens, the trustee needs to notify the court and put it in writing and file it with the court. So there's always going to be a notice of deposit.
Exactly. Absolutely, guys. And I've seen unclaimed bankruptcy amounts 3 million, 6 million. There is a lot of money that the government has that people don't even know about. When we initially search on Google how much unclaimed funds is in America and it says 60 billion, they're not including this. They're not including surplus funds. They're literally just referencing the unclaimed property at the state level. So if we really add this and add all of the foreclosure surpluses as well, we're looking at billions, guys, billions of dollars that are unclaimed, and we can present value. We can step in because we know where this information is. So if you're somebody who've not learned about bankruptcy, you didn't even know that there could possibly be additional funds after a bankruptcy, imagine how many other people don't know about this. So this is a huge opportunity to get into an industry that is not really known right now. That's what me and Will are going to do. We're going to be able to, shed light on this new business venture for you guys.
Right. One additional place that really helps with this type of claim is learning about PACER, the federal court system's electronic records database. And we're going to go through that. We're going to go step by step into Pacer and how to search it and how to find these claims, so you can find all those great notice of deposits in the various cases.
Yeah, and Pacer is great, guys. Pacer, you can create a account, and then you'll be able to access all of the courts, the bankruptcy courts that have it on Pacer, and we can go in and we can pull those files. So just like we just showed that notice of deposit of unclaimed funds, you can actually go into these cases and review, check and see, has somebody submitted a claim? All right, because believe it or not, it might sound crazy, but people actually do false claims. And this, me and Will saw that there was a false claim that was submitted. So you want to be able to identify, okay, if a claim was submitted, understand how to review and check to see if it was paid out already, or possibly somebody who was coming after only a portion and there's still some left over. We don't want to just say, oh, there's a claim in, and then jump to the next one. You guys are going to learn exactly how to do thorough due diligence.
Right. And I think making contact with the claimant is just like with mortgage and tax overages and state funds. It's a lot of what the hard work and the due diligence is, identifying and skip tracing and using all of your research skills to put it together and find out how to reach the people that the court wasn't able to reach.
Yes. And making contact with clients, guys, we're pulling public records. So we're going to have to be able to skip trace them. Just like when we're working with foreclosures, you're going to see who's entitled. We skip trace them, and then we're going to get their information. Now, there is websites that we can use to perform this, like Been Verified, Skip Matrix, things like that. But there's also a service called Bankruptcy Surplus. Okay, it's a site that myself, Will, and some other developers have created, where it's going to have the entire database from the site that shows the bankruptcy funds. You're going to already have it skip traced, and you're also going to have the documents already there for you. So you're going to have a lead database, and you're going to be able to click on the lead and pull up those documents. So you're going to be able to easily see the notice of deposit of unclaimed funds. So if you want to work on this lead, you now have the phone number, you now have the relatives information, you now have email addresses, social media links, and you have the proof to send to the client that they're actually entitled to these funds. Another great thing about this service is, in bankruptcy, Will can actually file for you guys in all of these states. Since this is a federal level, it's not like foreclosures where you have to be licensed in that state to do it. So this service, you guys are going to have fully skip trace leads. You're going to have the proof that individuals are entitled. You're going to have a CRM where you can call, text, blast campaign, set up follow-up triggers, and you can actually file the claim through us as well.
Yeah, it's a great system.
Mm-hmm. One-stop shop, guys. And especially when it comes to marketing, we explained that the big picture is reuniting these people. We see who's entitled, we see how much they're entitled. So we want to reunite them. And if we can automate that through the CRM, calls, texts, voicemail drops, emails, messages, you're going to have people contacting you. All right. On average, I'm getting 4 to 5 people calling me per day just doing this business. So imagine if you're getting people calling you, texting you back, and they're interested, and now all you have to do is go to the CRM, you pull up the file, see that they're entitled, ask them their email, send over proof. You're going to be able to close deals at an extremely high rate.
Worth mentioning, part of what is up on the screen and what we do in the course is, we're going to teach you, if you're not going to be using the bankruptcy surplus, how to do some of that work yourself, where to find the rules and the process and procedure that you need in order to go ahead and file the claim, and teach you step by step how to prepare and file those claims.
Exactly, guys. We're going to give you that information. You're going to be able to learn. For those who are great at applying information and, have enough time to go and do that thorough research and handle the marketing and all of that, you're going to have more than enough information. You're going to be knowledgeable on how to apply that and take action. For those who are looking for a streamlined process, a little bit easier for you, you are going to have tools that you can utilize as well. So everything that you'll need to be able to operate this business, we will have for you.
Yeah, so a couple of the things we're going to go over in the course in much more detail is about all the different places where you need to look in order to make sure you're following the correct procedure and process on the individual court level, looking at the statute, at the federal rules of bankruptcy procedure, the local rules, making sure you comply with the judge's rules and the judge's procedures, reaching out for the clerk's office and making sure that everything you're doing in terms of actually filing the document is consistent with the way they need it to be processed, and going through some common problems that you might face in that process.
Exactly. And this is extremely important, guys, especially when we're submitting claims in a new space. You want to get as knowledgeable as possible. Okay. We want to understand, how do they accept claims? Okay. We need to understand, what are the rules and regulations? What is the exact process? So that's going to be covered. And then it's also great to understand some problems and issues you might face so that you can be prepared in case they do come about.
Yeah, just like with mortgage overages, tax overages, and state unclaimed funds, there are special cases. There are going to be people who are owed money through the bankruptcy courts that are deceased. There are going to be business entities, corporations, LLCs, trusts, and other types of entities that are going to be, owed money and have unclaimed funds in bankruptcy. We'll go through those cases as well.
Yeah, guys. So the course, you guys are gonna have all of this information that we're gonna provide.
Yeah, when you're done through the course, you're going to understand what unclaimed funds are, where to locate them, how to confirm their availability, and understand all the things that you need in order to come across as an expert, understanding who the key role players are in the bankruptcy and what they do, and how to locate and contact and sign up the claimants, where to find all the rules, documents, and information you need to actually file the claim, and how to actually go ahead and file the claim on your own if that's what you want to do.
Exactly. So guys, like I mentioned, this is a great additional stream of income that you can add to a business model that you're already currently doing. All right. Ideally, when we're doing asset recovery, people just think about foreclosures, or they just think about unclaimed state funds. Now you're going to be able to tap into an industry that is a blue ocean. A lot of people don't know about this. There's money that's there. And the fact that it's more streamlined and simple, we're working with 2 to 3 sites opposed to 2 to 3 sites per county when we're dealing with the foreclosure process, and also having so much transparent data and proof. And it really just comes down to marketing. So if you guys do want to take advantage of this, the promo code Take Action will get you guys $300 off the course. We are going to post the link to purchase the course. Right now, we're doing early access, so you're going to be able to lock in that rate. But on Monday is when everything will be pushed out to the public. But you can purchase now, and you'll be able to use code Take Action, all one word, and you'll be able to receive $300 off of the course. All right. So now we can go ahead and go over some questions. If you guys have general questions about bankruptcy, or questions about what's going to be in the course and the value that you guys will get. Miranda, go ahead.
My main question is, how does the funds, how do these, excuse me, how do the individuals, how are they owed this money? That's what I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around. Was they in a chapter 13 and then was making payments, or is this for chapter 7? Is this for all bankruptcy? I'm trying to wrap my head around why they owe this money.
It can happen in a number of different ways. I think to answer the basic question about whether it's a 7 or a 13, it really can be in any bankruptcy that there's money that is meant for somebody that doesn't get to them. There are a lot of different scenarios. It could be a miscalculation within the court. So more money was paid in that should have been. And then when it was meant to be refunded, they couldn't find that person, or they found them. The check got mislaid. The check got thrown out by accident. The check never got deposited. A lot, these are both people who are the debtors in the cases and creditors. It's both. It's really not exclusive to one group or the other. So I think the short answer is there's a lot of different ways that this occurs. And sometimes it's as simple as this person has moved and the court doesn't have a good current address for them.
Okay, thank you so very much. And how much is the course?
So the course is $1,000, but you guys are going to use the promo code Take Action and get that at $300 off.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Danny, go ahead. Danny, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. Danny, I'm not sure if your microphone is working or not, but I see it's unmuted and I cannot hear you. So we're going to go to the next question. If it works, you can come back. All right, it says Reclaimed Asset Solutions. You can go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon or good evening. So you mentioned that there was a separate system that we can also join on our platform that's separate from the class. Can you also tell us what would be the cost and the time of, I guess, launching of the system that is that makes the course move quickly or more smoothly?
Bankruptcy Circus is going to be your one-stop shop leading database, notice of unclaimed deposit. You're going to have the ability to, directly market them from there. You're going to have the CRM. And then when you're ready to file the claim, let's say you market them, somebody gives you a call back, they're interested, ready to go. You go on the database and click file this claim, and they'll take it from being public on that database so that you can work exclusively on that deal. Like we mentioned, Will is able to, process claims in the entire nation. So then you're going to be working directly with our processing department and Will, and have direct communication. You guys are going to be able to see the documents that are going out. You're going to get updates on the claims. So that does have a monthly cost. When you think about how much you would spend time doing research, time paying for skip tracing, being able to market, stuff like that, the value is tremendous. So you guys are going to be able to get that at $300 a month.
And can we get a estimate of how long it takes for the claims to pay out? Like in Florida, we have to wait 120 days for the processing. Can you kind of give us a little bit information on that also, please?
Yeah, so the payout, they don't have those, stipulations like Florida does on the tax deed side where we have to wait 120 days. These funds, we can go in and submit the claim. The good thing about the claims is they do direct deposit. Okay, so that's going to go straight to your bank account. Also, they're reviewing claims in a pretty fast time is standard. It's nothing as far as 6 to 8 months. You're not going to have to wait that long. Unless you need to go through probate and there's additional stuff. But ideally, you're getting paid within 30 to 60 days.
And my last question is, how much of a percentage of the amount are we allowed? Is there a cap on that amount also, or is it to our discretion?
To your discretion, and it's going to be what you can negotiate.
Thank you very much.
We could say 50, 60% all we want, but is the client going to want that?
I understand. I just wanted to know if there was a cap.
All right, great question. Next one is iPhone. I'm just going to click ask to unmute. I'm not sure what your name is, but you can go ahead.
Hi, I couldn't find a way to put my name on there. This is Brianna Brown.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
Is a W-9 needed for when you claim the funds for the claimant?
There's a
I
different
see some.
there's a different form in the federal system that you would be using. That's an administrative office of the federal courts that they require to be submitted with a taxpayer ID number. I don't think that they require W-9, although individual specific courts may.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Danny, is your microphone working now? All right, Yuji.
Hello, Eric.
Yes, sir.
As you suggested, that I contacted XPLS Pro about a Missouri mortgage overage lead. And the person at XPLS Pro told me to set a time for notary. However, I thought this is a mortgage overage and we need an attorney. Is that correct? Instead
Okay.
of setting up a notary.
So, all right. It's a mortgage foreclosure. A notary, if you want to know what a notary is basically verifying a signature is true, that person exists. They are somebody who has confirmed their identification. Okay, so when you show up to a notary, you have your form of identification. They view that, they stamp it, and it's signed, and now it's authorized. It's confirmed that this was the person who signed. That's what the notary is. So that doesn't necessarily matter if an attorney is required or not. They're requesting to set up a notary because the document needs to be confirmed that this is the person who they are stating they are. All right. Also, yes, they have attorneys. That's how they file their claims. These are trustee held funds. So, they have to use the attorneys to communicate, which they have in the system. So if they're telling you to get a notary time and date, that's what's required so that they can go ahead and submit and have a successful claim. So all you have to do is contact the client. Hopefully you followed the process that we've gone over in training. You've already sent them proof. You've already communicated with them. Now you can let them know the next step is we need to go ahead and schedule a notary. We need you to just provide a proof of identification. These are legal documents, so they have to be verified.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Danny, one more time. I'll give you one more time to see if your microphone works. Okay. Shanti, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Eric. I have a question. So, if not like the tax deed and mortgage surplus, they sell it in the auction. Bankruptcy is the same thing too. I mean, they sell the whatever the properties to the auctions. This what they have the excess fund.
There are sometimes auctions held within a bankruptcy as part of it, but that's not how these funds come about. It's not an excess funds. Well, it could be. I mean, it could originate from that idea, but that would more be somebody has misapplied a valuation or miscalculated who is owed what. These are really schedules where the trustee and the court determines who is owed what, and there are funds in the bankruptcy court that are to be dispersed, and for whatever reason the person who is supposed to be paid does not receive the funds or receives them and disregards it.
Oh,
So it might result from a bankruptcy auction, but that is not the base case scenario.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so like an example to think of how it could come about, if somebody goes into a bankruptcy and there's a certain, dollar amount to satisfy that, and these are being paid in, they're liquidating certain assets, they're doing things to, pay off that debt that is established. If that's closed and there's an overpayment or there's an amount that, is no longer involved in this, they're going to be sending that money back. So they have a check that is unclaimed. They have funds that are unclaimed and they are available to now be claimed because they've attempted to return those funds. And you'll be able to see this. You'll be able to see like the return mail, and they're establishing that, hey, look, we tried to get this party their funds. It didn't work out. So we're going to go ahead and deposit it into the bankruptcy division.
I think if you go back a couple of slides to that notice of, to the report of deposit, I think you see a good example of what happened in this case, that the last two sentences, the trustee has made numerous attempts to contact the debtor to make payments of the surplus funds to the debtor. However, the trustee has been unable to do so.
Yep. Numerous attempts. So they're trying, guys. This is why we have value. They tried, they couldn't do it. Now, what are the efforts that they made? I'm pretty sure they're not calling, texting, sending emails. They're just